Your dog is scratching again. You can hear it from across the room, that rhythmic, relentless sound of a paw dragging across fur, over and over, while you sit there wondering what you are missing. You have tried the shampoos. You have tried the sprays. You have switched the food twice. And still, every single night, there it is, that scratching. And now, this spring, you have found 3 ticks on your dog in the last 2 weeks alone, and the fear sitting in your chest right now is completely valid. But here is what nobody in that vet office waiting room told you. The answer to both of those problems, the itch and the ticks, might already be sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. 1 teaspoon. That is all it takes to begin shifting the entire chemistry of your dog's skin. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw the promise. And I am going to over-deliver on it today. Because what we are talking about is not just masking the itch with a cortisone cream or drowning your dog in chemical tick repellents that have their own list of risks. We are going to the root. The biological root, and the answer, my friends, is both cheaper and more powerful than most people expect. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jin Park, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. Studies suggest that skin and coat complaints account for nearly 1/3 of all veterinary visits in dogs each year, making it one of the single most common reasons pet parents walk through my door. And I want you to hear this before we go any further. Drop any guilt you are carrying right now. If you have been watching your dog itch for weeks and feeling like you failed them, you have not. You just did not have the right information yet, and that is exactly why you are here. Today we are doing a complete masterclass on the natural ingredients that stop chronic itching from the inside out and repel ticks without neurotoxic chemicals. Grab a notebook, because we are going deep. And if you have not already, hit subscribe right now. This channel exists to protect your pets with real, evidence-informed, whole-body care, and you do not want to miss a single video. I also made an entire video on rebuilding gut health in dogs after antibiotics, which connects beautifully to everything we are covering today, so check that one out after this. For now, let us dive in. Chapter 1. The skin barrier and why the itch always comes back. Here is something most pet owners never get told, and it changes everything. The itch your dog is experiencing is almost never just a surface problem. The skin is an organ, the largest organ your dog has, in fact. And like every other organ, it has a job to act as a physical and chemical barrier between your dog's body and the outside world. When that barrier is compromised, 2 things happen at the same time. Allergens, bacteria, and yeast slip through more easily, triggering inflammation, and moisture escapes too quickly, leaving the skin dry, tight, and hypersensitive. This is called a disrupted skin barrier, and it is the reason why so many dogs end up in a cycle of scratch, treat, brief relief, and scratch again. The treatment never reaches the root because the root is not the pollen or the grass or even the flea. The root is a skin that has lost its ability to protect itself. One of my clients, a woman named Sandra, brought in her 7-year-old beagle mix named Rosie about 2 years ago. Rosie had been on antihistamines on and off for 3 years. Sandra told me, "Doctor Park, I feel like we are just managing it, never fixing it." And she was right. Rosie's skin barrier had been depleted for so long that even modest allergen exposure was causing a full inflammatory response. The drugs were lowering the alarm, but nobody was fixing the wall. Once we understood that, everything about the treatment plan changed. The correct starting point, and this is Chapter 1's core message, is nourishing the skin barrier from the inside before you put anything on the outside. We will get to what goes in the bowl in just a moment. But please hear this vet note right here at the top. If your dog's skin is raw, weeping, broken open, or has any hot, swollen, painful areas, please see your vet before applying anything. Open skin is a completely different situation, and what we cover today is for intact, itchy, inflamed skin, not wounds. Now that we have covered the barrier problem, here is where things get more interesting, because there is a creature living on your dog's skin right now that is making all of that dramatically worse. Chapter 2. The yeast your dog's food is feeding. The organism is called Malassezia pachydermatous. It is a yeast, and it lives naturally on almost every dog's skin in small numbers. Under normal conditions, it is harmless. But when the skin barrier breaks down, when the diet is heavy in processed carbohydrates and starches, when the environment is warm and humid, Malassezia blooms. It multiplies rapidly in the folds, the ears, between the paw pads, and along the belly. And when it blooms, it produces waste compounds that are intensely irritating to the skin. This is the corn chip smell. That unmistakable, slightly fermented, popcorn-like odor coming from your dog's paws or ears is almost always Malassezia overgrowth. And it is one of the most underdiagnosed contributors to chronic itching in dogs. I want you to understand the chemistry for a second, because it matters. Malassezia feeds on lipids, the fatty acids in your dog's skin. So a diet that is already depleting the skin's fatty acid reserves is directly fueling the overgrowth. The yeast eats the very thing the skin needs to heal. It is a perfect biological trap, and your dog cannot scratch their way out of it. An owner named Marcus came in with a 5-year-old French bulldog named Bruno. Bruno had been scratching his face and licking his paws compulsively for almost 8 months. 2 different vets had suggested it was environmental allergies, and there was certainly a component of that. But when I looked at Bruno's ears and paw pads and smelled that telltale corn chip odor, I knew Malassezia was driving a major part of the reaction. Marcus was feeding a kibble with white rice and chicken meal as the first 3 ingredients, a high glycemic base that was feeding the yeast every single day. The correct approach here works on 2 levels. Internally, we reduce the yeast's food supply by reducing high glycemic starches and introducing specific compounds that create a more alkaline skin environment where Malassezia struggles to thrive. Externally, we use a diluted rinse, and the ingredient that does both of those things, internally and externally, is apple cider vinegar. Raw, unfiltered, with the mother. 1 teaspoon per day in food for small to medium dogs, up to 2 teaspoons for large breeds, mixed into food, not given straight. It gently alkalizes the gut, supports a more balanced skin pH, and when diluted 50-50 with warm water and applied as a rinse or a cotton ball wipe to the paws and ears, it creates an environment where Malassezia cannot thrive. Please hear this vet warning very clearly. Never apply apple cider vinegar to any broken, raw, or bleeding skin. The acidity will cause real pain and can worsen inflammation. Intact skin only. And always dilute. Always. But what if the problem is not just yeast? What if every walk through the grass is a minefield, and the ticks your dog is picking up are the bigger fear right now? Because the 2 problems, the itching and the tick exposure, actually share a solution, and it starts in the gut. Chapter 3. How a healthy gut changes what ticks smell. This one surprises almost everyone I tell it to. Ticks do not randomly land on a host and stay. They are extremely chemosensory. They detect heat, carbon dioxide, and specific volatile organic compounds that emanate from the skin surface. In simple terms, they smell their host. And what that host smells like at a molecular level is influenced significantly by the health of that host's gut microbiome. A dog with a compromised gut will produce a different set of surface chemicals than a dog with a thriving, diverse microbiome. And certain compounds produced by a healthy gut actually function as natural repellents. This is not folk medicine. The relationship between gut flora and skin chemistry is one of the most rapidly growing areas of veterinary research, and the practical implications are real. The ingredient that addresses this most directly and most practically is brewer's yeast. Not to be confused with active dry yeast or nutritional yeast, brewer's yeast specifically from a reputable pet supplement brand. It is a nutritional powerhouse, rich in B vitamins, particularly thiamine, which produces a skin odor that ticks and fleas find deeply unappealing. It supports the gut microbiome, adds a natural bitter compound to the skin's surface chemistry, and has been used in holistic veterinary practices for decades. The dose is typically a half teaspoon per day for dogs under 25 pounds, 1 teaspoon for dogs between 25 and 60 pounds, and up to 1.5 teaspoons for larger breeds. Sprinkled over food, not cooked in. Heat destroys the B vitamins. Vet warning here. Brewer's yeast is derived from Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is a completely different organism from the Malassezia we discussed. But if your dog has a known severe yeast sensitivity or allergy, introduce it slowly and watch for any skin response. And as with any supplement, start with half the dose for the first week and work up. If your dog has a chronic condition, run this by your vet before starting. That is non-negotiable. The gut-skin connection is one of the most powerful levers we have in holistic dog care, and we have only just started pulling on it. Because the next chapter is where things get quietly emotional for a lot of pet parents, and I want to give it the attention it deserves. Chapter 4. The omega gap that is aging your dog faster than their years. This is the one. This is the thing I wish I could put on a billboard outside every pet food factory in the country. Most commercial dry kibble, even the premium, grain-free, small batch, cold-pressed kind is processed at temperatures high enough to destroy or significantly degrade the omega-3 fatty acids that are added at the end of production. What you see on the label and what survives into the bowl after processing and shelf time are often very different numbers. And omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, are not optional for a dog's skin health. They are the literal building blocks of the cell membranes and skin tissue. Without adequate omega-3s, those membranes become rigid, permeable, and inflamed. The skin barrier we talked about in Chapter 1 simply cannot rebuild itself without this raw material. I see the result of this gap every week in my practice. Dogs in their 4th or 5th year who look and feel like they are 8, dull coats that shed excessively, skin that is perpetually flaky regardless of how often they are bathed, joints that are already stiff. The owners always say the same thing: "He is just getting older, Dr. Park." And I have to gently say maybe. But maybe he is also running on an omega deficit, and that is completely fixable. The correct answer here is a high-quality fish oil, specifically wild-caught sardine or anchovy oil, not salmon oil from farm sources, which often carries a higher contamination risk. Look for a product that lists the actual EPA and DHA milligram content on the label, not just total omega-3s. The general holistic dose is 20 milligrams of EPA and DHA combined per pound of body weight per day. So a 50-pound dog would receive roughly 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA daily. This is the supplement I recommend most consistently, and it is the one that produces the most visible results within 4 to 6 weeks. The coat changes, the scratching decreases, the skin stops flaking, and the anti-inflammatory effect on the joints is a bonus that owners almost always comment on. This is also the category where I have to give you a critical purchasing warning. Many fish oil supplements marketed for pets are rancid before you open them. Oxidized fish oil does not just fail to help, it actively increases inflammation. Before you buy, look for a product stored in dark glass or opaque packaging with a clear production and expiration date, and ideally third-party tested for oxidation levels. If the oil smells strong and fishy when you open it, throw it out. Fresh fish oil has a mild, clean sea smell. If it is pungent and sharp, it is turned. Please do not put that in your dog's bowl. Now we have covered the inside work, the gut, the barrier, the omega foundation, and here is where everything comes together. Because the most powerful thing you can do happens when you combine what you now know into a single daily bowl strategy. And the ingredient that ties it all together is one that surprises almost everyone. Chapter 5, the kitchen spice that stops inflammation at the cellular level, turmeric, specifically a preparation called a golden paste. I know you have probably heard of turmeric, but most people who have tried it for their dogs made one critical error that guaranteed it would not work. Raw turmeric powder sprinkled on food has a bioavailability so low in dogs that it is essentially decoration. The active compound, curcumin, is not water-soluble. It requires fat and a specific activator called piperine found in black pepper to cross from the gut into the bloodstream where it can actually do anything. Without those two cofactors, you are flavoring the bowl, not treating the dog. Golden paste changes that. The recipe is simple. 1/4 cup of organic turmeric powder, 1/2 cup of filtered water, plus more as needed, 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper, 70 milliliters of a quality cold-pressed coconut oil or olive oil. Combine the turmeric and water in a small saucepan over low heat, stirring constantly until it forms a thick paste, approximately 7 to 10 minutes. Remove from heat, add the black pepper and oil while still warm, stir thoroughly, and allow to cool. Store in the refrigerator in a glass jar for up to 2 weeks. The dose starts small, 1/8 teaspoon for small dogs, 1/4 teaspoon for medium dogs, and up to 1/2 teaspoon for large breeds, given once daily with food. Start low and increase over 2 weeks. Turmeric can cause loose stool if introduced too quickly, so slow and steady wins here. What curcumin does at a cellular level is genuinely remarkable. It inhibits a compound called NF-κB, which functions as a master switch for the inflammatory response. When NFKB is suppressed, the cascade of inflammatory chemicals that makes itchy skin worse, that keeps joints inflamed, that feeds the chronic allergic response, that entire cascade dials down. This is not a surface level fix. This is cellular. And for a dog who has been in a chronic inflammatory state, sometimes for years, the relief that golden paste can bring within 3 to 4 weeks is something owners describe to me with tears in their eyes. A woman named Claire brought in her 10-year-old Labrador, a big gentle dog named Henry, who had been on prescription anti-inflammatory medication for 2 years for a combination of joint pain and skin inflammation. Claire was worried about his kidney values long-term. NSAID use is a legitimate concern in older dogs, and she asked if there was anything gentler. We built a whole-body plan together, and golden paste was a central part of it. Within 6 weeks, Henry was more comfortable than Claire had seen him in 3 years. His coat came back. He was sleeping through the night. She called the office, and she said, "Doctor, Park, he ran to his toy basket this morning. He has not done that in over a year." That is what I am talking about when I say holistic care addresses the root. Vet warning: turmeric has mild blood-thinning properties. If your dog is on any anticoagulant medication, has a clotting disorder, or is scheduled for surgery, talk to your vet before starting golden paste. It also stains your bowls, your clothes, your hands. Use old equipment and enjoy the golden fingers. Chapter 6. The bowl formula: how to put it all together without overwhelming your dog's system. Here is the principle I live by, and I want you to write it down right now. Rotation is the secret. Your dog's body is not designed to process the same concentrated dose of any supplement every single day forever. The microbiome needs variety. The receptors need a break. And frankly, rotating keeps your dog interested in what is going into the bowl. So here is the simple framework. You have 3 categories: a skin builder, a gut helper, and a repellent. You do not need to do all of these every day. You need one from each category, rotating on a rhythm that gives your dog's system time to respond and reset. For the skin builder category, your tools are fish oil daily. This one you can keep consistent in golden paste 4 to 5 days a week, with 2 days off. For the gut helper category, plain unsweetened kefir or yogurt, and I must stop right here and give you a non-negotiable warning. If you are buying yogurt or kefir from any mainstream grocery store, read the label for xylitol, also sometimes listed as birch sugar. Xylitol is extraordinarily toxic to dogs. A quantity that causes 0 effect in a human can cause severe hypoglycemia and liver failure in a dog. Always buy plain, unsweetened dairy with absolutely no sweeteners of any kind, natural or artificial. 2 to 3 tablespoons of kefir, 3 or 4 times a week, is a gentle, effective probiotic delivery system that costs almost nothing. For the repellent category, brewer's yeast daily is your anchor, and apple cider vinegar in the bowl 2 to 3 times a week, with topical diluted wipes after outdoor walks. That is the complete bowl formula. Fish oil and brewer's yeast as daily anchors. Golden paste most days. Kefir or plain yogurt several times a week. Apple cider vinegar in food and as a rinse on rotation. 1 teaspoon of any one of these is where you start. Not all of them on day 1. Week 1, just the fish oil. Week 2, add the brewer's yeast. Week 3, introduce the golden paste. Week 4, bring in the kefir. This is how you build a protocol that works and that you can actually sustain. And here's the piece I want to leave in your chest as we close today. The fact that you watched this far, that you are here at this moment taking notes on omega bioavailability and malassezia and piperine and golden paste, that is not something a lazy pet parent does. You are here because you love your dog in a way that goes beyond the surface. You are trying to understand what is happening inside their body so you can make it better, not just quieter. And that effort is exactly what your dog deserves. Let us do a quick recap. Apple cider vinegar diluted in food and as a topical rinse for yeast and itch. Brewer's yeast daily supplement for tick and flea repellent via skin chemistry. High-quality wild-caught fish oil daily for omega-3 replenishment and barrier repair. Golden paste with black pepper and healthy fat 4 to 5 days a week for cellular level anti-inflammation. Plain kefir or yogurt with 0 sweeteners several times a week for gut microbiome diversity and skin chemistry support. If this video helped you or gave you even one new tool for your dog's health, please give it a like right now, not for me, But because the algorithm uses that signal to show this information to more pet parents who are sitting up late tonight with a scratching dog and no answers. Subscribe so you never miss a masterclass like this one, and please drop a comment below and tell me, are you dealing more with the itching side or the tick exposure side right now? Which ingredient goes in the bowl tomorrow? I read every single comment and I answer as many as I can, and your questions shape the next video. The best medicine is usually already sitting in your kitchen. Give your dog a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Park. Stay safe and always trust your instinct.